Yeah, it is.
Oh, now it is. Geez, you're just right on it.
Hey, everybody!
Hi. It's Sparkle live broadcast time. Facebook Live.
We haven't actually done it in a bit. We're a few weeks off. Some summertime.
And I don't even know if we have published that we're doing this or advertised that we're doing this. Have we?
Yep.
Okay.
We have a bit. We have a bit.
Here and I am. Hello, friends. Come join us. Come talk to us. We are going to talk about our newest story collection, Life as a Martian. And we want to take your questions. We want to hear how it's going for you. I know it just published, and we just had our first story go up.
But it's very different. It's a very different series than or collection than we've done before. And at least on social media, we're getting lots of feedback already, which is fun.
I know. I forwarded you those notes this morning. Mm-hmm. So if you are popping on and want to chat with us, please say hi. Or if you want to talk with us or hear what we have to say today, say hi in the comments, please, so we can know you're here and who you are and where you are in the world. I'm in Austin, Texas at the moment at Sparkle HQ. David is in outside of Concord, Massachusetts at the moment.
Yeah. Where it's very pleasant and is raining. It's for the week. It's been Austin temperatures. It's been very warm. Oops, let's turn this off.
Turn that off. Let's just turn that right off. Mm-hmm. I hope that you're joining us. So David, we're going to record this so that we can share this with people later. Let's talk about Life as a Martian. Can you tell us where the original seed idea for this story series came from? Can you remember?
Well, I am interested in, intelligent life that comes from other places. Mm-hmm. I've been investigating that in a bunch of different avenues creatively, but not here in Sparkle. It just never seemed like the right place to be doing that. But I'm just curious. I don't have any hard theories or anything like that, but with all that's coming out with, the Navy videos and all sorts of things that no longer seem fringe, it seems that there's something. What it is, we're not all in agreement with. So just began to do a Sparkle Stories kind of meditation on that, and discovered that, I have a whole section of my childhood, if not a large part of my life, where I've just felt different than other people, and realizing a lot of people feel that way. Mm-hmm. And so one metaphor is, and, I can remember thinking, I think I might be from another planet, or I might have come, left the planet for a while and then come back or something like that. Like we imagine things to help us make sense of why we feel the way we do. Mm-hmm. And then thought, well, if I felt that way, and I've met a number of other people that felt that way, there's probably a lot of kids that feel that way. Mm-hmm. And so decided to really, really take that up. And it was really fruitful. As soon as we brought it to the full team, everybody was relating to it, and just what it's like to feel like an outsider, and then how you make sense of it. Mm-hmm. So what if it was true?
But that half of us were extraterrestrials, really from other places.
Yeah.
Or some of us were anyway.
Yeah. What if that's true, that I actually am, from another planet? And what if when I was a kid, someone in authority said, yeah, it's true, you are. And then what would happen? What would happen from there? And then it really got interesting. So mm-hmm. it's been a ton of fun.
Mm-hmm. If you're just joining us, we're talking about our new Life as a Martian collection or series. We have our first collection from that series that's just launched, and it has a whole different format. And so we had quite an evolution as a team about how we were going to write these stories and tell these stories. And it's landed in a format that's completely unique. And I can't even remember the original format. Did you start? You didn't start with the podcast. You started with something, and then we turned it to a podcast.
Yeah, it was just going to be, like Sparkle Stories.
Right. And so then it ended up where our main character, who's in 4th grade, is talking about his experience through the structure of a podcast. And it was darling, but I guess for the rest of the editorial team felt like it was going to be too narrow of an experience. We're so used to Sparkle Stories with lots of characters and their different perspectives often. So then we broadened the structure and made it a little more complicated. Do you want to describe like how we're doing what we're doing and why we're doing it that way?
Sure. At this point, there are 4 different perspectives. One of them is more like the traditional Sparkle stories, where it's a storyteller telling an overview, but even that, the voice is a little bit different. There's a distance to it, and it feels a little otherworldly. And that's the one that's giving perspective and telling the overview, the like reality,
the narrator or narration,
right? Yeah. But the narrator doesn't seem like they're from this planet.
Yeah. That's it.
And yeah. And then there's Johnny Boy Nebraska, who is 10 years old, and he's a part of a podcast camp over the summer, and has chosen this as the subject of his podcast, What Life is Like as a Martian, because he learned, along with the other members of his family, the Nebraskas, that they were in fact from Mars. And so he's processing that through this podcast and giving reports. Susie Q is doing something similar, but her perspective, Susie Q is the older sister.
Yeah, right.
So Susie Q Nebraska is his older sister, and she has a phone, which is not uncommon with 13-year-olds. And she, Johnny Boy is 10, she is 13, and she has decided that they are not Martian, that the authority that told them this was in fact joking, but she is also a little bit of an outsider, though she's dealing with it differently as a teenager, and is also trying to make sense of a bunch of things that just don't make any sense if you're from another planet. And she does this through audio diary entries in her phone. So those are 2. And then lastly, there is X, who is a very interesting character. X is short for experiment, which is short for the coordinates of Greenhorn, Florida. And X appears to be a pet, but is actually a beacon of information to Martian headquarters. So the idea is that Martians arrive on the planet and immediately forget they're Martians and believe that they're people, so they can blend in as easy as possible. And it's actually their pet, who looks like a dog but is actually a robot, who gathers information and transmits it back to Martian headquarters.
Yeah.
They need to learn about Earth, because Earth is now sending rovers and probes to Mars. So they need to do the reverse and find out what's going on here.
Yeah, it's darling. And is Greenwood, Florida a real town? Or did you make up those coordinates? Yeah. Okay. You just figured out the coordinates right where it needs to be. And describe again. I love how you describe where it is. It's between.
Well, it's between Orlando, which is this land of make-believe, and the father, Donnie Nebraska, actually works in one of the Orlando amusement parks, which isn't an amusement park, but very well could be, called the Starseed Amusement Park, which is all alien themed. And he's the engineer of a ride called the Venus Flytrap, where you actually get consumed and dropped into the belly of the plant. But so we have that weirdness on one side to the west, and then on the east is the Kennedy Space Center, and in between is kind of swamp towns. And so this is essentially a built-up, established swamp town called Greenhorn, which of course means newcomer.
Oh, hello, Deb. It's my cousin. Thank you so much. This is
all right.
Actually, I've got to do my hand the other way. I don't know how you look on the screen, but this is the creative one right here. I mean, I'm creative too. I have just lots of opinions about things.
Yeah, well, this was very much a collaboration. This one,
we all gave some input.
Yeah.
For that second one, I really wanted to write Susie Q's voice myself, but didn't feel like I could write at the pace at which you write. You write at such a fast pace. And so where in there, if you were to say where you feel like your heart is as your own like small person, if you have little David in there that's 10 or 13 or 12 years old, like where, wherever his heart was at the time, where would you locate that in these stories? Because I know we write from all these different parts of ourselves, right? And we write,
well, of course,
stories that we needed to hear. So
Yeah, all four of those are different versions of my perspectives. Like, I feel like I can really identify with Johnny Boy of, there's something wrong, something's off, and I want an explanation, and then a delight in finding one. And then I can totally relate to Susie Q of something's wrong, something's off, but I'm going to actually work really hard to fit in. And then of, this narrator, which really developed more as an adult, but just kind of stepping back and looking at things objectively and trying to make sense of them that way. And then, X, this robot who, even though is a robot and even though is very factual, is you can kind of tell it's having a fantastic time. Just doesn't belong, isn't bothered by that, but is just like, oh my gosh, this place is wild. First real exploration of the planet is on the 4th of July in Florida, when bombs bursting in air, with fireworks all about, and just trying to make sense of that and engage in the protocols that are part of its programming. And so I get that too. Like, I don't understand this, but let's go.
Yeah. It's fun. It's good. And how many stories are there going to be? So we launched story number 1 yesterday. And if you're listening and you've listened to story number 1, I'd love to hear your feedback.
How many did we? I think we said 10, right?
I think 10. I know. Yeah. This is one of the first times that we've got a story series, of this style mapped out, but not really completely written. Am I right about that? No, I guess we launched Doryford before No, you had written all of Doryford. Anyway.
No, we've How to Be Super. Each one of those was written after we launched. We kind of learned our lesson that we shouldn't be doing that. Means that we forgot that lesson.
I know. And, we've got this one mapped out, though. We haven't mapped out. You just haven't written all the stories yet.
Yeah.
But it's really delightful and it's really funny. And some of the feedback that we've had on Instagram from families this morning, it seems like there's a lot of giggles and enjoyment. And
has anybody heard it yet that's here on Facebook right now? Has anybody heard it? You can make a comment, or if you have a question.
Mm-hmm. There was a hot second too where we were looking at having other voices. Right at the last minute, we thought, oh, wouldn't this be fun with other performers? But then we pulled back because it was too much with the advent of summer. But that's coming. That's coming in our podcast with our new stories with our podcast. You're going to get to start hearing new voices, which will be fun.
I really, every time we've entertained someone else telling stories, we're pretty, there's a lot that we can do with me telling the stories. We've done it for so long. People are used to it. There's a huge opportunity for other storytellers in the little bit of collaborations that we've done with other storytellers and little other voices with this podcast launch. It really, the reality is that it changes the production schedule. We would have to slow down significantly. And it really makes me respect other podcasts and audio dramas that have a cast and produce it. It takes a long time.
I know. We're working at a really fast pace with our own team. Yeah.
It's kind of the culture of Sparkle Stories. We go quickly.
Yeah.
And to slow down to be able to do that has been an adjustment.
That's true, because we are kind of a well-oiled machine in terms of how things move. Thanks to Mark, our current CTO, and kind of like almost like a COO who's got a great systems for us. Yeah, it's kind of, in fact, it's remarkable. Can I brag? Can I have a little brag moment? A little
brag.
Like, what set us apart all these years is your incredible ability to produce at a high rate, and for all of us to produce at a really high rate. And luckily you have that open flow of creativity, so there's always new content. And then we just, I don't think there's any other one-person shop that can do it at this rate. And this is why we have going on over 1,400 original stories now, because of the flow of content.
Well, in part, I mean, I think that there are probably a number of people. In fact, I think everybody can do this, but the flow of landing the content is one thing.
Yeah.
But actually being able to produce it into something that is of the quality that we do requires the full team. That's, I really feel like I have the easiest part, which is to just sort of make stuff up and write it down. And then it goes into a very rigorous editorial, and the technology that's behind the website and the app is very sophisticated. And there's a full team for that. And then just being able to present it in such a way, because if we just kept producing and filling up a bucket, nobody would know where to find things. No one would know what order to listen to. There's quite a bit of user experience in order to make it functional. So it's a full team effort.
It's a full team effort of love and blood and sweat and tears. Go team.
Go team.
That's my high five.
That's a sound effect. We do a lot of sound effects.
We do almost no sound effects. Almost none. But
no sound effects.
Just live and playfully. So let's see. What else can I ask you about this lovely story series?
And everybody, if you have any questions, you can ask them. It doesn't have to be about Life as a Martian. It can be about anything Sparkle Stories or Elizabeth or David.
Yeah. I'm sure, it's summertime, so I'm sure people are just like in summertime mode, out, at least summertime here in the Northern Hemisphere, outside doing stuff. Yeah. The people in my house are like in playful mode, and it's nice. We're just sort of like, the schedule has relaxed, so I really appreciate that. Anything?
No. You have one last question, Elizabeth?
Do I have one last question?
I have a question for you.
Okay.
It's the question you asked me. Where do you see yourself in this series, in Life as a Martian? What's your relationship to the characters and to the concept and to the relationship to either outsider or straight up Celestials?
Well, I can tell you exactly. Well, it's more than like a question that it answers my own little inner being, or the message that I need to hear, And it's very much about shake your booty in the way you shake your booty, like do your thing. A lot of us are feeling outside, right? I think it's natural to feel your difference and your quirks are the most luscious thing about you, right? So I think about Johnny Boy's parents, and like they just doing what they do, and they're blessed, maybe because they're Martians, and maybe because they're evolved Martians with seeming lack of self-consciousness about who they are and what they do. And there's something very like what I notice is when I listen and read. I've only listened a little bit, but have read all the stories you've written thus far. Is what opens up inside of me, and is sort of like, dang, yeah. Let's make art out of shoes and ketchup. Let's just do that. Whatever it is, whatever your thing is, let's just do that thing. So that's where I'm resonating with the stories. That's the thing that I love being reminded of.
Yeah, I did definitely connect with Betty, Nebraska, doing the art project on the neighbor's car. Yeah. And you'd think that would be, an opportunity for real conflict. But then as they're cleaning up all the ketchup and mayonnaise and sticky notes and such, from the car,
friends.
The neighbor is just confessing things and, just like relating, and suddenly they're friends. Yeah.
I wish we could I would love to change the programming in there so that early on we all get the you do you programming really strongly instead of the it's safer to be a part of the tribe programming.
Right.
Keeps us cautious, right?
So Robin, the age range, I can't remember. What did we say? 7, 8?
Either 6 or 7. Hold on, let me look.
Might even be older. I know that we were thinking of it for older kids. It might even be like 8 or 9.
Oh goodness, you know what? It's not on our homepage yet. I have to get it up there. It might even be 8 or 9 plus. We put 9 plus. And explain why that is. I was going to start to explain, but you explain why that is.
Well, it's not like the other Sparkle stories. It's much more, it's got a lot more character in it. There is some tension, there's real tension of acceptance. The Boogie Watkins, the mayor, does not want them there. And that's going to get more intense as the story unfolds. And there will be there's this whole group of celestials called the Plaharans, who are, 7 feet tall, very Swedish looking, and they don't care. They don't care. They're willing to step forward and say, yeah, we're from another star system, and so there will be conflict.
Also, too, remember did I just interrupt you?
No, I can't remember what
the structure. They're like monologues, so
yeah, they're a little harder to listen.
It takes and they're delightfully crafted, and they're monologues. So you don't get the narrator and then dialogue. It's each moment is from a different person's perspective.
Right.
So
it's more complicated narrative.
Youngers can totally listen. There's nothing inappropriate per se outside of the conflict or the, being rejected by your community or that internal level of difference or whatever. So try it out.
Yeah, it might be interesting to revisit that. And hello, Caitlin.
Hello, Caitlin.
Your Redwoods. I'll be there next week.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. You'll be there. Where are you? Actually, we can talk about that aside. I'd love to know where you're going. What's going on?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to know about this story series while we're on here?
Did you ask me a question?
Oh, I thought that was how we were. I thought that was how we were going to close it with my answer to your question.
No, you did it. You don't have to ask another question. I couldn't hear what you just said, so I was asking to clarify.
Oh, I see. More. Those are the things I wanted to know. Was like how we started it, where your heart was in it, what the structure of it was. And then we get to talk about who it's for. So
cool.
It's darling. I'll be really curious to hear what everybody has to say. And again, first responses are so positive. And it's fun to do something really different this time.
Well, if you watch this later and you have a question or a comment about life as a Martian, about your own experience as a Martian, if any Martians are actually,
if you think you're Martians too,
we'd love to hear from you. And we can connect.
Pleiadian, however you say that. I think I'm.
Well, that's the Plaharans.
The Plaharans are Pleiadian? Oh, I thought it was Pleiadian. Or however you say it. Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, how do you change your voice? Says Melody. We love your stories.
Ask your kids. If you've got children, ask them to do different voices. It's the same way. I just enjoy myself. I goof around.
You've been doing it since you were very little too, haven't you? So this was a long time thing.
Yeah. Just practice like anything else. Really, just sitting by myself. I talk to myself all the time in different voices, all kinds of stuff.
We do that we do that too. Yeah. Thanks, y'all, for joining us today.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
We'll see you in the celestial worlds.
In the celestial worlds, and in upcoming weeks for different conversations. We're bringing other people on in upcoming weeks, but we'll keep you posted on that.
Okie dokie.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.